We'll go ahead and resume in a little bit, guys. We're just taking a break real quick here. I've been rambling for like an hour or so. Facebook, Twitter. Let me just share the broadcast real quick. We'll begin in a little bit for anyone who's on stream me and live. Just taking a break real quick. It's gonna load. Tumblr. I said Twitter, not Tumblr. Gunmen barricaded inside California's Trader Joe's. Well, crazy. Crazy. Great. Headphones just broke. Why? Hi. What's going on? What did I do with that? So we're going to be going over something completely new. I'm tired of talking about natural law. Anyone on YouTube and all that, we're taking a quick break, and then we shall begin. I gotta adjust this microphone. Recording microphone. Wow, barely anyone could even fucking hear me. There we go. Boosted by that. There we go. No, still on 2. Okay. I don't understand why it's on 10 TVs. Is that any better? Well, I guess that's 3. Alright, whatever. We'll leave it there. Alright.
All right, so we got 50 people here. Let's see how many people are on YouTube. 4. That's fine. It saves the video, so that's all I care about. All right, so now I'm going to talk about. Let me just plug this in here. If you want to take notes, like get out your notebook or whatever. If you have any questions, you can always message me or just type in the chat. I think what I'm going to go over now is the short version of how I became so successful, I guess, in short terms, and what you guys need to follow. It's 1,200 people on 1,200 people on make sure that doesn't have my name on it. It's fucking weird people zoom in and freaking so yeah, let's go ahead and start. 1,200 people, we got like 1,500 people, and then I don't know, as long as the YouTube videos are saving because it's a new channel, I really don't mind. So a lot of this is falling on deaf ears locally, what I was talking about, but I think I have the assistance that I need to proceed forward. And I want to announce also today that I'm going to be a part of what I asked for technical help on. I want to start a new network, and I will pay for this in the style of Truth Networks that you see out there online. And it's going to be called One Great Work Network. And this is going to be something that I'm going to begin as a Facebook group, okay, an open Facebook group, and I'm going to start promoting the work of other people that I find really, really valuable to the truth-seeking community, and it's going to highlight the work of people that are really putting forward the effort that I find really valuable and effective in the communication of natural law principles. Okay, so that's where it's going to start, but that's only going to be in the beginning of it. It's going to eventually be a full website with a lot of contributors. So it's going to be like a multimedia website where people that accept onto the network as a contributor will be able to contribute in whatever way that they want through whatever type of media that they want. So, for example, if Benny wants to come on the network and feature his presentation on art in the way that he does it, he can come on the network and do that. If Ivan wants to come on and bring Die Next Door Speaks podcast on it, I would invite him on to do that, and that would be his format. If there's artists that want to bring their work to the table, or musicians, or people who blog, or people that YouTube or DTube, or any media format, it's going to be a multimedia format with a lot of contributors.
that are focused on really improving the human condition. So that's my announcement today about the One Great Work Network. That's one of the things that I needed some technical help with, because I know a lot about technology, but I don't know it all by any stretch of the imagination. I need help with things, and there's things that I don't know how to do, and that other people, they specialize in that, so they're going to bring their talent to the table in that regard, and help me get that network up off the ground. So that's the second part I wanted to announce today. And now, finally, before I get to the presentation, I have a very special announcement to make. I'm going to begin on a yearly basis giving an achievement award, and this is going to be called the One Great Work Achievement Award. And the recipient of the award on a yearly basis is going to be the individual that I feel is doing the best and most prolific work in helping to communicate the ideas of natural law to the widest body of people possible, and who does that very effectively. What comes with that is $20,000. So what comes of that, of this, before I even convey this award today, I want to thank you so much to Ivan Iola, and thank you so much to the organizational team. They're watching on Stream Me right now. So I want to congratulate him. The whole organizational team was phenomenal and did a tremendous job in organizing this event. And this thing went off with that hitch. And this is the way it should be done. And this is the way. So thank you, Ivan, and the organizational staff. So without further ado, I want to introduce the first recipient of the One Great Work Achievement Award. I'm going to show you guys the award. Oh, I don't have it. I know the flat earthers are going to have a terrible problem with this. I don't have the award with me, but he's got the 20 grand in his PayPal account. The symbolism behind the award represents human consciousness. They're free initiates, so to speak. So thought, emotion, and action that hold up the world. That's the symbolism behind this award. And there's a seal of the One Great Work on the base of the award. And ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the 2018 One Great Work Award is Mr. Bill Church. So congratulations to him. He has been PayPal 20 grand, and that award is in the mail to him. So Church, awesome guy, knows a lot about this topic. He does tons of work in his community, tons of great work with animals, and he has a brilliant communication skill set, and he has he's doing the great work by putting this information out there. So if he was here, he'd say a few words. So prepare to hear some heavy information in this presentation. It's going to be tough for some people, what I'm going to say today. So this is not done lightly. This should be received with a somber state of mind and a sobering state of mind, what I'm about to say. There are certain things that I'm about to talk about that they don't even want to envision. However, we have to consider them and hold them in our psychological makeup as potentialities. The potentialities that I don't want to see manifest in the world. Never have. But we have to be prepared that they may manifest. So with that being said, let's jump into the topic. I dedicate this presentation in its entirety to the memory of Samuel Adams. Samuel Adams, perhaps more than anyone else, is the person that I historically, personally identify with, because perhaps single-handedly, this man began the American Revolution. He was probably the most influential soul of that time period, and bringing people to action. He exercised the call to action more than anyone else. He was called by the British the chief conspirator. As a matter of fact, the American Revolution was referred to by some people in England and some of the Tories in America as the Adams conspiracy. John Adams, when he traveled to Europe, was often asked, especially when he went to France, "Are you the famous Adams?" And he had to respond, "No, I'm not. That's Samuel Adams." So Samuel Adams said, "The truth is, all might be free if they value freedom and defended it as they ought. Freedom has to be valued and defended, and that is why we're in the situation that we are in as a people, because truth isn't valued and defended as enough." So this presentation is not for very young people, not for children. It is certainly not for the easily offended. So if you have that sensibility about you, now's the time to leave. I think no one here will be easily offended. I think we're all in the room because we recognize the information that I'm about to speak here is vitally important to understand. So this is the caveat I always give. It's certainly not for the people in this broadcast, but it may certainly be online or YouTube or wherever this presentation is going to reach their eyes and ears. My presentation style is very intense. It can be harsh. It can even be combative. I don't sugarcoat my words on delivery. Some people will become angered or upset with this, and I say go right ahead and get offended as you like. That will never make what I'm about to say untrue, because truth by its very nature is belligerent, and it wages war against deception and mind control. Okay, I don't present this information to be liked. So believe me, if I wanted to present it to be information to be liked, I'd be blowing smoke people up and telling everyone that they're doing fine and everything's going to be okay. I tell very people uncomfortable realities that a lot of people don't like that. So I may be popular among some of these people that are watching me right now, but that's not the case for wider humanity for sure. I speak up publicly because I recognize the crisis we're in. I have a moral obligation to communicate what I know to be taking place in our world to other people, to help them understand it as well, so that they can take action and do something about it. This is a call to action, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And the bad news is that this is still the mindset of the vast majority of humanity. And that's the best image that I could find that could sum up the human mindset in the aggregate. It certainly doesn't apply to people in this broadcast, as I've said, but this is where Earth is at. The people of Earth are right there, firmly right there, if you can imagine a circle. And they need to extricate themselves from that position. And otherwise, we're going to be coming down to this very serious consequences that I'm going to be talking about. Manly P. Hall said that it is not the wrath of the Almighty, but the stupidity of man that is causing all the trouble. And if people are not familiar with this man's work, I mean, you need to become so, because he was absolutely a brilliant philosopher, an occultist, the occultist as far as I'm concerned. And he has some of the best work that I've ever taken in that really helped to open up my mind and wake me up. Manly P. Hall. This is the human condition, ladies and gentlemen. The human condition, whether anyone has recognized it or not, or accepted it or not, is slavery. And see, I'm not going to sugarcoat words. Never have, never will. I'm going to come out and say just as it is, in plain language, regardless of who likes it or not. The whole idea of true spirituality, the whole goal of true spirituality is the ending of the human condition called slavery. It's never been okay. It's not okay now. It never will be okay. It's completely immoral. And the people who continue to form the actions that hold the human condition in this state, or support and condone these actions, are immoral people. And we are the people who need to reach out to those people that can be helped and change their mindset. That's what the great work is. People will say there's many, many, many paths to freedom and spirituality, but I will take umbrage with that statement. There are many paths that could get you to an understanding to what the solution is, but there's only one real true solution. And this can sound dogmatic to people. It can even sound religious to people. And I try to explain to people in all my work, I'm not dogmatic, I'm not religious. To say something to the effect, do you believe in natural law, or do you think it's some type of religious dogma, is as ridiculous as asking someone if they believe if I hold an object and let it go, will it fall downward? There's no dogma or religious or required for that. It's law in the universe. Well, behavior is also bound by law. This is the problem with the human ego, though. The human ego refuses to accept that behavior is bound by law. And we want to think that we can do anything we want, as long as we don't get caught. The only solution is the understanding of natural law and how we are inextricably forever bound by it. We have free will to choose our behavior, but we do not have free will to be insulated from the consequences of our choices. And free will. Natural law is the most occulted information that needs to be understood by humanity. And there's very little progress in propagating a worldwide understanding of natural law to the body of humanity. That's where our work is, folks. That's what the work of the people, and watching this broadcast and the people who do understand this is. We have to become teachers of this information. I naively thought in my early days of doing this that there would be at least 1 million to 10 million people, teachers of natural law, doing this for a decade. And I could count them on two hands. The good ones, the ones who are doing it effectively, our efforts are not enough. That's the thing when I kind of convey to these broadcasts who do understand my work. The effort has to be advanced and stepped up. We need to become teachers of this information to everyone within earshot of our voices. Or humanity is going to be going down the path that I'm going to talk about, which is going to be very, 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 very ugly. Natural law is a set of universal, inherent, objective, non-made, eternal, immutable conditions which govern the consequences of behaviors of beings with the capacity for understanding the difference between harmful and non-harmful behavior. That means it applies to intelligent beings who have developed brain and nervous system like we do. Okay? It doesn't apply to lesser beings, to the animal kingdom. They're not going to sit there and reason. We have the capacity for reason. They're instinctual creatures. They have emotions as well, but we have higher thought functions. That's why natural law applies to us. The behavioral laws of creation, they apply to us and more advanced beings because we have the capacity for understanding morality. A worldwide common sense understanding of true objective morality and the laws that govern behavioral consequence is the only true solution to the current human condition of slavery. For as long as humanity remains like this, the occulted knowledge of natural law, it will remain enslaved. And that is by law. That is by universal cosmic law. By no laws of man will it remain enslaved. It will be enslaved by the laws of creation. For those who are not familiar with my work regarding natural law, I absolutely encourage everyone to watch my 3-part video series called Natural Law, the Real Law of Attraction, and How to Apply It in Your Life. That's for free on my website, in the video section, or you could get a hard copy on my gifts area of my website. What natural law is all about is the objective difference between right behavior and wrong behavior. I always tell people, we use the same word to communicate the idea of correct and moral. We use the word right to communicate those concepts. Correct means based in truth, and moral means that it is in harmony with natural law principles, because when you take a right action, the result of that action does not result in harm to other human beings, to other sentient beings. Conversely, wrong behaviors, both incorrect and immoral. Incorrect meaning is not based in truth, and immoral meaning is in opposition to natural law. Because when we take wrong behaviors, someone is harmed as a result of that behavior choice. The problem is, folks, most people still in the year 2018, sad as though may be to say, cannot properly define a right. They cannot give you a definition of what a right behavior is. And that's why we're losing our rights, because they do not understand that a right is an action that does not cause harm to another sentient human being. And that is the definition, and it is as simple as that. You know, I've rewatched the movie K-Pax recently, and it's about an alien being who comes to the Earth and interacts with, the primitive human beings. They can't understand his mindset. And when he's asked his planet as a government, he says, "We have no need for a government." He says, "Well, how do your people know right from wrong?" His answer is, "Every being in the universe knows the difference between right and wrong." That's the right answer to that question. This should be common sense knowledge, but we're so backwards as a species that I need a 9-hour presentation just to understand the brainwashed people what right and wrong behavior is, you know? I've said in past presentations, sometimes I sit up and laugh at the ridiculousness of what I do. Really, I laugh at how ridiculous having to present basic information like this is. And yet the majority of human beings is falling on deaf ears. The following actions are examples of initiations of aggression against others, which is what all wrongdoings are. These actions are violations against natural rights and then constitute violence. Murder, assault, rape, theft, trespassing, and coercion. And you could think all you want about any wrongdoing that could possibly be committed. I've challenged many, many people to do this, and you will recognize every single wrongdoing that can be committed against another human being is theft. There's only one wrong, theft, in one form of another, and there's only one law in the universe: don't steal. That's it. Every wrongdoing comes down to an act of theft. Provably, murder is the taking without just cause of a life of another, which does not belong to you. Assault is the taking without just cause of another being's physical well-being, which does not belong to you. Rape is the taking of another free will sexual consent, which does not belong to you. Theft is the taking of property, physical property, which does not belong to you. Trespass is the taking of the security of another person, of their domain, dwelling place, which does not belong to you to take. Coercion is the taking of another human being's free will, which does not belong for you to take. Every wrongdoing is a form of theft. There's no wrongdoing that anyone can think of that is not a form of theft. Natural law versus man's law. Natural law is based upon principles and truth, which is inherent to creation. Man's law is based upon dogmatic belief systems, which are the constructs of a diseased mind. Natural law is only ever harmonized with due to knowledge and understanding, or not harmonized with due to ignorance. Man's law is, on the other hand, is only complied with due to fear of punishment. Okay? Natural law is universal. It exists and applies anywhere in the universe, regardless of location. Man's law differs with location based upon the whim of the legislators who are making up these decrees and commands. And that is a form of moral relativism, the idea that we can decide what right or wrong, and then that they are not objective to inherent to creation because they're based on actions. Natural law is eternal and immutable. That means it exists and applies for as long as the universe exists, and it cannot be changed by any action that anyone could do. Man's law changes with time based on the whim of legislator, which is also moral relativism. If a man-made law is in harmony with natural law, it follows logically that is redundant, since it is stating a truth that is inherent, pre-existing, eternal, and self-evident. Well, it should be self-evident. Therefore, Man's law is both irrelevant and unnecessary. If a man-made law is in opposition to natural law, it follows logically that it is both false, meaning it is incorrect, and is immoral, and it meaning it is harmful. It results in harm to human beings. Or in other words, it's wrong. Therefore, man's law that's in opposition can never be legitimately be binding upon anyone. Therefore I say throw all of man's law out. We don't need it. We only need to understand and bring our behavior into compliance with natural law. That's it. And then we would experience a society based in freedom. Because as we engage in moral behavior, a society in the aggregate becomes more free. And as we engage in immoral behavior, a society in the aggregate becomes more enslaved. That is the natural law of freedom. There's a law that governs the freedom of the whole society. As morality increases, freedom increases. As morality declines, freedom declines. There's only one true divide in all of humanity. Only one thing that really separates human beings into two groups. This is where I call the true dialect or the true divide. There's only one divide that separates it into two individuals. The criterion for this divide is whether or not an individual believes in the concept of authority and therefore believes that there is legitimacy to slavery, because that is what authority is. That is what the belief in authority is the belief in the legitimacy of slavery. The only difference between human beings is whether they're a statist or an anarchist. There's no other difference. And I don't mean like characteristics and personalities. I'm talking about things that actually truly separate us into two camps of beings. The statist says, he has the brilliant idea that we give a small group of people the right to kidnap, harass, kill people so that we can be protected against the opposite. Brilliant ideology. It's working out so well, don't you think? Our rights are protected. We're prosperous. We're free. It's just a flawless idea that's working out wonderfully. I was looking. I told this anecdote in the past. I was looking for a picture of anarchists, and you're not going to see. I'm not going to single out anyone, least of all myself, to put a picture of their quintessential anarchist. So I was going through images and I found this meme of Jesus as an anarchist saying, "I'm an anarchist, but most of my followers are statists." And nothing can be more true. The fake ass Christian religionists that think all believe in the authority of government and have this dissonance in their minds that somehow, God can be an authority of bringing the laws of behavior in the universe upon people, and then yet we can still have authority vested in man. This idea of serving two masters. Crazy. A statist is an individual who erroneously believes that there is such a thing as authority vested in certain human beings, which magically gives them the right to rule over other people. This quote authority means that certain people we call government the masters have the moral right, quote unquote, to issue commands to those who may rule, and those under their quote jurisdiction, which literally means the law is what I say it is, literally in its etymological roots. These people are other slaves that have a moral obligation to obey the arbitrary dictates, the laws set by their masters. And most simply put, what we really strip away all euphemism, a statist is simply someone who believes in legitimacy of slavery. And that makes them, by definition, immoral. Conversely, an anarchist is one who knows that there can never be a legitimacy to government or authority, because those terms are simply euphemisms for violence, slavery, and always immoral, and then they're always immoral to the natural law. So the problem is people don't understand the reading of true anarchy. I'm not talking about people who call themselves anarchists, folks. When I'm using the term anarchy, true anarchy and true anarchists, and there's only one real anarchist, and that's the anarchist that understands all authority, all government is slavery, and the only solution is moral behavior under natural law. That's what an anarchist really is. The word anarchy comes from the Greek prefix "an," meaning without, the absence of, and the Greek noun archon, meaning master or ruler. Anarchy does not mean without rules. It does not mean chaos. It does not mean disorder. It does not mean, quote unquote, lawlessness when it comes to moral law. It literally means without rulers, without masters, and archon, without masters, meaning no masters, no slaves. And you phrase this saves no masters, no slaves to the average person. And you say word association game, tell me the first word that comes to your mind when you say no masters, no slaves. They'll say freedom, but I just gave you the etymological meaning of from its roots language, and the word literally means without masters. And yet people think it means chaos and lawlessness and disorder instead of what it really means, freedom. That is what the word anarchy really means by its very definition. Look it up. So we have to understand the solution is living in a society, in a state of existence where we don't have a master class and a slave class, a ruling class and a ruled class. All of us are already ruled by natural law, and we need to simply bring our behaviors into alignment with those laws by thinking, feeling, and doing what is right. Okay? Yet this is the perpetual, continued human condition of slavery. And we have this kind of slavery in this very country. Hard ball and chain whip and murder, full physical enslavement of human beings right here in this country. Part of what this kind of forced labor was used to build a lot of the infrastructure of this country. We are not in this state right now where we have this kind of slavery taking place all around us, but we're going to move toward it again. We're going to move toward it again as a karmic consequence that we allow here, and a karmic consequence and of an aggregate of people of allowing the soft form of slavery called government to continue, because it is never going to stop its march to a total totalitarianism unless we morally straighten up and educate everyone regarding moral principles, and that slavery in any form is wrong, no matter how you euphemize it. So this is the continuing human condition, and the great work is to end that condition. That is what the great work is, and that's why so few people want any part of it, because it's not the lighthearted little party. It's the one great work. Just to tell people, not that it matters, because you know what? Too many people are focused on dollar signs and value being only in monetary units. But just to tell people, just so you have an idea of the kind of financial situation that I have foregone to do this work. I actually sat one day and calculated the amount of money that all of the work that I've ever done on that I've done by man hours and the type of work that it is. I calculated the going rates and the amount of man hours that I've done on this. Want to take a guess of how much money that it would have made if I would have been paid to do the technological work on this work? Try again, sir. Who just typed that? Try again. Way higher. Way higher. $3.5 million. I made $13,000 last year on this work. I mean, seriously, like, no one should really applaud about that. I'm already a millionaire. I should have said the former one instead of the latter one. That's what I should have made. But but we reward basketball players and football players and pop music artists. You know, that's what we reward and put up on a pedestal and reward financially, because that's what the people of this world find value in. You know, people come up to me all the time, Mike, why are you doing way better? Why are you living the way you're living? Why are you living so meagerly? Because that's how much people have valued this work in the world. I'm already a millionaire, and I don't do this for monetary value. I could care less. I'm going to continue to do this if it costs me money to do it, which it did initially in the initial years. You know, so that's not my motivating factor. My motivating factor is to end this condition. Too many people have this idea of, I have to be rewarded financially to do this. I'm likening it to someone that's the enemy is raining fire on them, and people are saying, here, take this weapon, fire back, and then we're going, pay me first. It's that ridiculous. But it's just something I wanted to say that people will find value in and what they don't find value in, and that's part of the problem. Slavery is a claim of ownership on your person, the product of your labor or your possession, in whole or in part. All natural rights are property rights. Understood property. Because all wrongdoing is theft. It's the taking of some form of property. Understanding this is fundamental to understanding the condition of slavery. We all own ourselves and have the right to live freely and exercise our natural rights, provided actions we perform do not infringe upon other person's rights. Anyone who dares to try to stop people from living within these natural rights is making a direct claim of ownership upon others, which is the very definition of slavery. Those who do this or condone this are tyrants and should be treated as such. This is no light matter, ladies and gentlemen. This is not get into a somber, serious mindset about the topics I'm going to be talking about and discuss today, because this is extremely serious and should be taken as such. The people that are doing what they are doing have no right to do these coercive and immoral behaviors and conduct them upon the human population. And we have every right to end that state. Yet no one's waking up. And ladies and gentlemen, get offended by this next statement. Here are the forces. The police and the military are the enforcers of slavery. I don't care who you know. I'm in the military, in the Navy. I don't care what kind of relationship you have. I will look any member of them and tell them that they are the enforcer of worldwide slavery, because that is the truth. Mainly law enforcement, not military. Even though it falls on the same. They dictate it, but it's a different. Until they walk away from their jobs, humanity is going to be enslaved, or it's going to take something that is going to be extremely, extremely negative and ugly to end this, to form of slavery, which I don't want to see it come to. The great work is to get them to quit the occult. It's get people to quit these cults, and that's what it is. They're cults. They're satanic cults. And to get the people who condone these cults to stop condoning the behaviors of these cults. Thank you. If you're not familiar with my work on order followers, which is what these people are, this is what they do. They don't want to think for themselves. This is what they don't want to reason for themselves. They want to listen to what other people do and then just do it because that's a cop-out, an easy answer, and they think that somehow absolves them of that personal responsibility and a moral culpability. I put out this a few years ago, The Cult of Ultimate Order Followers and the Destruction of the Sacred Feminine, which is the true heart-based care energy within all of us, which gets murdered in these cult members so that they can go out and perform the behaviors that they perform like the automaton robots that they are. So this is another critical video for people to take in and understand. Let's take a break real quick here. The police and the military are the modern equivalent of house slaves of the Civil War period. They are the people who are keeping the system of slavery in place. And they do this through duress, which is the first part of the three parts of this presentation: duress, dissidence, and deadly force. Part of the problem in the non-recognition of the human condition of slavery is most people do not understand what the condition of duress is and why it is so immoral to conduct upon anyone. I'm going to explain what duress is. And these enforcers of slavery are continuously conducting duress upon other beings. And they have no natural right to do this and to keep other people in a state of duress. And the people who are under this state of duress have every right to end it by whatever means they choose to end it. They have the right. And I want to make it clear today, I'm not suggesting that the direct course of action to anyone. I'm just trying to explain to you what your natural rights are to do. You might be perfectly within your natural law right to take a behavior and yet still die because you take that behavior. To do the right thing is not always the safe thing to do. I'm not talking about what's safe in this presentation. I'm talking about what's our right to do. Naturally and inherently in creation. Is it a right or is it not a right? That's all I care about. I'm not talking about whether it's negative consequences are going to be rained upon me by brainwashed cult members if I perform the behavior that I have the right to perform. I'm just trying to conceptually have you understand that the right to do a specific behavior to end duress exists in nature. So let's look at what duress is. Actually, let's take a break real quick. Duress, let's go over what duress is. Duress is a continuous condition of coercion of the free will of a being or a group of beings by another being or a group of beings through threats of violence and or actual acts of violence. If those beings coerced do not comply with the decrees or commands they are given. That's what duress is. It's someone saying to you, you will comply to my decrees or commands, or I will threaten you with violence if you don't comply. That's the condition of duress. When people are held in the condition of duress, they are unlawfully, and I mean unlawfully, not by man's law, natural law, preventing from exercising their free will to engage in rights which they actually possess, and or they are coerced through threats of violence to perform behaviors against their free will. Meaning if they don't do something, violence will be conducted upon them. So let's take a break real quick. 48 minutes. I think we've done about 48 minutes. We'll do I guess we'll just end it. We'll do part 2 and we'll do part 2 and 3 tomorrow.